I'm Ester van Merwe. I'm a Black Rhino Monitor working for Wilderness Foundation Africa and in partnership with Sandparks. Rhino monitoring is essentially gathering information, as much information as possible, using various resources. We use foot patrols, we use aerial surveys, and we use camera trapping, and all of that combined gives us the best possible results in knowing our population. The elephants have pulled us down now, so we're going to have to find a new spot to reposition it, snap the talking off. We notch our rhinos on their ears with different notch patterns. Natural there, and this is what we've notched. A bull 45. That's how we distinguish between individuals. We also then from there start building a database from genetics straight up to what the animal's horn shapes look like, specific new tears that they've gathered throughout the field, and we're consistently updating our ID kits and our information on where these animals are moving to, where they are drinking water, who they're associating with. If you look carefully at all the sticks that come out of the dung, they all have a little 45-degree angle, and that's a sure way to tell black rhino. So the reason for this is they're browsers, and obviously they lift their heads when they're eating, so when they bite they do it at an angle, and that's why it's got that 45-degree angle. The dung midden is essentially a little Facebook page for rhino. They'll all just come and do their business, and different size animals have got different scents, and there'll be different messages hidden within those scents. So a rhino can walk to a dung midden and figure out where his friend has been, where his girlfriend's been, or whoever has been in the area. If there's been someone that shouldn't be there, then he can go and inspect. So in general, these are quite old already. This is still a little bit fresh, but it's ice cold on the inside. So if you're tracking black rhino and you get to dung and it's still warm inside, then you know you're fairly fresh on the tracks. This is cold still, so there's a good chance this was either last night or the day before. There's so much more to rhino populations than just trying to keep them alive. Especially with black rhino, they're such complex species socially that if you don't understand your population properly and you have to make a management decision in removing too many bulls or trying to establish a new population, you can very easily make a bad decision in removing the wrong animal from a population, and that can make the whole structure collapse. They are very socially complex, and by doing rhino monitoring, we can ensure that we understand them entirely. We understand where they fit in, who's the dominant animals within the population, and make sure that if we do come to a management decision, we don't just do it blindly. I got the opportunity a couple of years ago to start as the Rhino Monitor for Shushu and Filosi Park, and I had the privilege of working with a bomb called Bom and Merwe, who had been working with black rhino for 29 years. That was unfortunately the last year Bom worked in the field, but I had the privilege to spend that last year with Bom. We did over 500 hours together in the field, and that's where I got my passion from, is this Zulu man that just absolutely gave his whole life to black rhino. At the end of that year, it was very difficult for me to carry on without Bom, because he had been such a wonderful teacher to me and training me how to stay alive amongst these quite dangerous animals. As everyone would tell you, they are not easy to track on foot. But from there, a passion has grown on a daily basis for black rhino, and I've had the privilege to see some amazing things in the field with them. from the air and on the ground, seeing babies small enough, not able to stand up yet, and the unfortunate bit of seeing a bull that you've been tracking for years to be poached on the ground. It is heartbreaking to see animals being destroyed that is just doing what they are supposed to be doing naturally. But if you've got a passion for an animal, you keep fighting for them, no matter what. Okay, so there's some black rhino tracks here. You can tell the freshness of the tracks by looking at the crevices inside. You can see there's still some crevices here, so I reckon this was from last night. There's actually already other animal tracks that's gone over it and insects have moved across it, so it's not as fresh as it seems, and there's not really a breeze today, so if there's more of a breeze then it will also wash quite a bit of the track away as the wind goes over it. We only have black rhino here, so it's fairly easy to identify this, but with white rhino they tend to be obviously a lot wider and they've got two toes that stick out a lot more than black rhino, so with these you can almost do just a circle around it. And this is from looking at our cameras now, you can see it's one of our big residence pools that's walked past here. At Wilderness Foundation, we've been fortunate enough to have this tremendous sponsorship from Volkswagen South Africa, sponsoring us 6 Amarok bakkies every year since 2011. These bakkies have made such a difference for us on the ground, being able to do our work on a daily basis. The question is always why? Why this specific species? Why black rhino? Well, the answer is why not? If you cannot protect one iconic species such as a black rhino and you can't stop it from being completely destroyed from greed, how are you going to stop them from destroying little succulents and frog species that most people don't even know exist? We have to start somewhere, and for me, my role is to try and protect black rhino as much as I can, where I can, and I will do everything possible to try and ensure that the species will be there for future generations. I will do my part here, and someone else can do their part in another species, but we cannot let a species like that disappear from this planet. Working with black rhino, there's some very interesting days in the field, some very tiring days, but there's always time for a good laugh, and very often tracking black rhino and walking into them on foot can deliver some very memorable moments. And walking with Bomb back in the day, I never forget, it was a bull that we were looking for a very long time. This was an old bull and he liked to hang out in the rivers. And this bull was sleeping on the edge of the river on this particular day. In the middle of the river, there wasn't any water left in the river, and this was the only photo opportunity I was going to get to be able to get photos for the ID kit. So me and Bom marched through what was a very popular picnic site to get to the bull at the end of the river, and has already attracted a lot of attention from the tourists who started gathering on the bank. And knowing Bom, there was always a chance for him to make a black rhino stand up, and there was always going to be some running involved. There's a lot of people that say don't run when it comes to black rhino. If you're working with Zulus in Zululand, none of those rules apply. So with Bom, we headed into the river, and he got the bull to stand up, and I asked him, where's this bull going to go? And he assured me that he was going to go the opposite direction down the river. But walking with Bom and knowing Bom's style by then, I'd realized, okay, you're going to have to make sure you're going to get a head start. So I started taking pictures of this bull, and I managed to get some good ID photos until he started realizing that the shutter on my camera was starting to go off. So he started charging, and Bom just shouted that I must head for the reeds. And by then the river had come down, so there were slippery slopes on the sides of the reeds, and I knew if I was going to go in there with my luck, I was going to face plant, and it was not going to be a pretty picture with a rhino right behind you. So I decided my best option was heading downstream, in the opposite direction. So I heard the commotion behind me, but that was the first time in my life that I've hit full speed of my capacity and then my turbo kicked in and I could feel there was extra speed coming. So I headed down the river as fast as I could and I could hear Bomb going into the reeds and the Rhino followed him and I just thought, well, you made this trouble, you sorted out yourself. And amongst my great speed, I realized that the tourists were cheering me on from the side banks. And when I got to a standstill, I realized that I'd done quite a distance down the river. And when we got back to the tourists, one guy said to me there was a good 150 meters you did there. And I just, in my capacity, I thought it was like a 60-meter sprint. So they give you some speed. There's definitely some need for speed when a rhino is behind you.